Tonight is salad night in our house, but instead of doing our regular salad, I decided to try something a little bit different. Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. My name's Tom. This is Friskified Fitness. And I decided to do something different with our salad this week. Tonight is salad night in my house. And instead of just eating salad with a fork, I decided to stick the salad inside of Folio's cheese wraps. Now, it is not sponsored. I've never had these before, but every time I'm at Wegmans, which is our local superstore, I see them, and I've been curious. They come in several different varieties. The one I have is the Parmesan one. It also comes in cheddar and Swiss. Now, I decided instead of using just a fork, I would put them inside these folios. Now, I decided to try it two different ways. Now, folios come in this Ziploc bag, which is nice because you may not be able to eat all of them in one full go. There's 4 of them, and they measure 7-8 inches, something like that. That's a lot of cheese, and I doubt anyone can eat them all at once, particularly if you're just doing it yourself. If it's a family, you won't need the Ziploc bag. You're probably going to go through them. One thing I like right off the get-go is that they're separated by a sheet of parchment or wax paper so they don't stick together. Now, it smells like Parmesan, which you would expect because it's Parmesan cheese. It's a disc of cheese. Now, according to the label, 13 grams of protein, only 1 carb, 1 gram of carb. So if you're low carb, that is important. So to give it a fair shake, I decided to do it 2 different ways. The first way is about an hour and a half ago, I took a disc out of the fridge and I left it out to warm up a little bit. My thought process for that is maybe it'll be warm enough and pliable enough and maybe it won't crack. I, for some reason, was worried about it cracking. The other one will be straight out of the bag, straight from the fridge, and we'll see if my fears were warranted or not. So here's what I have in my salad. I have lettuce, obviously. I have avocado. I have chickpeas, cucumbers. I have red onions, shredded carrots, tomatoes, and chicken that I had marinated in Salamita's State Fair Speedy sauce. Also not sponsored, just really, really good. If you're not familiar with Speedies, contact someone in area code 607. We can tell you all about them. Lupo's is another very, very good brand. Also not sponsored. Let's assemble the room temperature one and see how it goes. Okay, so I've loaded the first one up. Let's see if it holds together. It seems to be nice and pliable, but as is typical for me, I tend to overload my wraps. So I'm not going to be able to do like a burrito out of it, a burrito shape. However, if I squeeze it together enough, I should be able to keep most of the fillings in. One thing I like about this is it seems very sturdy. At the room temperature one, I have no fear of it cracking or breaking. The cheese, it's subtle. It's not an overpowering Parmesan. It's subtle, but it's there. It's quite tasty. Now I want to try something using the Salamita State Fair Speedy Sauce. Again, not sponsored, but really good. I want to add a little. Just a little, because I know it's not going to absorb. And it's probably going to run out. By the way, I have a plate below me, which is a good thing. As you can see, it's dripping down. Now, again, using sauces with this, I probably wouldn't advise it. Perhaps something thicker, like the consistency of maybe mustard, or maybe if you spread on some salad dressing or with a knife, but certainly not something as loose as an oil-based sauce, unless you have a plate beneath you, which I do. Now, a sauce is needed of some kind because Parmesan is a dry cheese, which is kind of why I worried about it cracking with it being cold. You need something, some liquid element, even if it's a gelatinous element, the consistency of mustard or a salad dressing. That first one was very good, but it is thirsty work. And part of the reason for that is on the nutritional label, it says 390 milligrams of sodium, which is about 17 to 20% of the FDA recommended sodium intake for the day. So, cheers. Now, we're going to try the Folio's Parmesan cheese wrap straight from the fridge. An interesting thing I just noticed. Taking the cheese off the parchment paper or wax paper straight from the fridge, no noticeable difference in the amount of stickiness that the two have. And now for the second one, this one coming from the fridge, and seeing how that holds together to see if my fears of cracking were warranted. Well, would you look at that? No crack, no muss, no fuss. That's all right. One thing to keep in mind is that cheese at room temperature typically has a stronger flavor. So if you're looking for a little stronger Parmesan taste, you'll want to leave your Folio's cheese wraps out on the counter or room temperature for a half hour to an hour. But this is still very good. And now, to put a little bit more Salamita State Fair Speedy Sauce on it. Not sponsored. And this time, I was a little bit more careful with the pouring. You know, it really does need a liquid component. These Folio Parmesan cheese wraps are absolutely delicious. But Parmesan, being a drier cheese, you do need some sort of moisture liquid element. The speedy sauce works well. However, I would still recommend something that's a little bit thicker. So now that I've eaten both of them, here are my thoughts on the Folio Parmesan cheese wraps. They're delicious. They are made out of lightly baked cheese. Now they're gluten-free and lactose-free. I don't understand how cheese can be lactose-free, but I'm not a scientist. I like that they have 13 grams of protein, and if you're low carb, they only have 1 gram of carbs. They seem to be both pliable and sturdy. They are not stretchy, however. If you're looking to have a burrito and to wrap it really tightly, these are not the wraps for you. You'll want to go with a low-carb tortilla, but not with these. These are very good. At the Wegmans that I go to, these run about $4.50 for a pack of 4. Now, would I recommend the Folio's cheese wraps? Yes, I would. They aren't an everyday thing, but having them occasionally, I can see that happening. I can see working them into my regular schedule. I don't see myself using them for salad night again, but I am eager to try them with other ingredients, perhaps that already have a moisture content a little bit higher than dry salad. So, have you tried Folio's cheese wraps? What flavors have you tried? Let me know down in the comments below. And while you're there, give me a like and a subscribe. Well, that's about it for today's video. My name's Tom. This is Friskified Fitness, and we'll see you next time.